Suarez fires. Pop fly. Right field. Segura's out. Castellanos on. And the Philadelphia Phillies. Dinola. Suarez fires. Pop fly. Right field. Segura's out. Castellanos on. And the Philadelphia Phillies are going to the World Series.
For weeks now, the silence surrounding the Boston Red Sox has felt louder than any blockbuster signing. While the rest of Major League Baseball has moved aggressively, reshaping rosters, shifting power dynamics, and signaling clear intent to compete, Boston has lingered in a strange and uncomfortable limbo. Fans have watched rival teams act decisively while the Red Sox, one of the most historic and financially capable franchises in the sport, have remained without a single free agent signing. That reality alone has fueled frustration, confusion, and a growing sense that something behind the scenes is either being carefully constructed or dangerously mishandled. Now that silence is finally beginning to crack. According to some of the most trusted voices covering the Red Sox and the league as a whole, the organization's off-season plans are becoming clearer, and the direction they may take is far more revealing than many expected. Insiders like Jon Morosi and Alex Speier are no longer speaking in hypotheticals or vague generalities. They are openly naming targets, outlining internal philosophies, and describing a front office that has been forced to pivot after missing on its original blueprint. This is no longer about speculation. This is about a franchise at a crossroads. Jon Morosi was among the first to publicly suggest that the Red Sox are actively exploring additions to their starting rotation after failing to land their preferred offensive cornerstone. His reporting aligns with what many around the league have quietly believed for weeks. Boston's Plan A is gone, and what comes next will determine whether this offseason is remembered as a turning point or a wasted opportunity. Morosi specifically floated the idea that the Red Sox could look to strengthen their rotation, throwing out names that immediately grabbed attention, with Ranger Suarez emerging as a serious and realistic option. What made Morosi's comments more striking was not just the name itself, but the context. This was not framed as a backup plan in desperation. It was described as a legitimate path forward, one that could redefine how the Red Sox attempt to compete in a brutal American League East. Alex Speier of the Boston Globe reinforced that idea with even more revealing language. According to Speier, multiple sources within the league have characterized Boston's post-miss approach as creative and open-minded. Those words matter. They suggest a front office no longer rigidly tied to positional needs or star power optics, but instead willing to reallocate resources in unconventional ways. Speier made it clear that while adding a bat was once the priority, the Red Sox are now seriously considering spending heavily on pitching, potentially targeting a true number 2 starter to slot behind Garrett Crochet and ahead of Sonny Gray, or even loading up the bullpen as an alternative path to contention. What stands out most is Speier's blunt conclusion. None of these alternatives represent the team's top choice. Plan A is gone. The next steps are uncertain. That single sentence encapsulates the unease surrounding the organization. The Red Sox are not improvising because they want to. They are improvising because they have to. As of mid-January, Boston remains the only team in baseball without a free agent signing. That fact alone places the front office under a microscope, especially when compared to divisional rivals. Toronto has been aggressive, Baltimore has added impact talent, Tampa Bay has remained active through trades, and even teams in retooling phases have made decisive moves. The Yankees, while also relatively quiet, operate under a different expectation curve due to their existing roster construction. The Red Sox do not have that luxury. On paper, Boston's roster is intriguing. The starting rotation features a mix of youth and experience, with Garrett Crochet emerging as a potential frontline ace and several promising arms waiting in the wings. The bullpen has depth, even if consistency remains a question. The farm system is stocked with young talent that could contribute sooner rather than later. But paper projections do not win games in October. Intent does. This is where Ranger Suarez enters the conversation in a meaningful way. Suarez represents almost everything the Red Sox are not currently known for pursuing. He is not a flamethrower. He does not light up radar guns. He does not dominate headlines with highlight reel strikeouts. Instead, he embodies reliability, consistency, and a style of pitching that quietly dismantles opposing lineups. Year after year, his underlying metrics have remained remarkably stable. He induces weak contact, limits hard-hit balls, and generates grounders at an elite rate. His strikeout numbers may not jump off the page, but they are more than sufficient when paired with his command and pitch mix. Perhaps most importantly, Suarez has proven he can handle postseason pressure. His October performances with Philadelphia showcased a pitcher who not only rises to the moment, but thrives in it. Energy, confidence, and composure are not easily quantified, but they are traits Boston has lacked on the mound in critical games. Adding a pitcher with that profile would not simply improve the rotation statistically, it would change its identity. Within the current structure, Suarez would immediately slot in as a number 2 or number 3 starter, pushing Sonny Gray into a role better suited for his stage of career and easing the burden on younger arms. That ripple effect matters. It creates depth, it creates flexibility, and it creates a rotation capable of matching up with elite lineups over a full playoff series. The presence of young pitchers waiting at AAA only strengthens the argument. Peyton Tolley and Connolly Early have already shown flashes of big league readiness. Kyle Harrison, acquired in a major trade, brings additional left-handed upside. These are not placeholders. These are legitimate contributors who benefit from not being rushed into roles they are not yet ready to fully own. A veteran stabilizer like Suarez allows Boston to develop its youth responsibly rather than out of necessity. This is where the frustration of Red Sox fans becomes understandable, but also complicated. The organization has made trades, it has maneuvered creatively, it has preserved financial flexibility. Yet none of that feels satisfying without a clear statement of intent. Free agency is not just about talent acquisition, it is about signaling. It tells the clubhouse, the fan base, and the league what a team believes it is capable of achieving. Boston's payroll situation only adds to the confusion. As things stand, the Red Sox are projected to spend significantly less than they did last season. That is not the profile of a team on the brink of contention unless that money is being intentionally reserved for a decisive strike. Waiting only makes sense if the move that follows justifies the patience. Ranger Suarez, in that context, becomes more than just a pitcher. He becomes a litmus test. Signing him would signal that the Red Sox understand their current competitive window and are willing to address it in a pragmatic way. It would acknowledge that while star hitters drive headlines, championships are built on pitching depth, durability, and postseason composure. It would also represent a rare instance of Boston leaning into a market inefficiency rather than chasing the loudest name available. Of course, Suarez is not the only option remaining. Other pitchers and position players are still on the board, but time is no longer a luxury. Each passing day increases the risk that Boston's flexibility turns into paralysis. This offseason was supposed to be about progress, about capitalizing on momentum, about closing the gap between promise and performance. Instead, it has become a waiting game, one that only ends when the Red Sox finally make a move that cannot be ignored. Whether that move is Ranger Suarez or someone else, the next signing will define how this entire winter is remembered, not as a period of restraint, but either as a calculated reset or a missed opportunity hiding behind patience. The clock is ticking, the league is watching, and for the Boston Red Sox, the margin for error has all but disappeared. Let us know your thoughts below. Should the Red Sox pivot fully toward pitching? Is Ranger Suarez the right move? Or does Boston still need to shock the league with something bigger? Subscribe for more Red Sox coverage, and we'll see you in the next report.